If you wanna be my friend, you'd better go and get a pen.
Get that pen.
Maybe we can keep in touch.
In touch.
Like we did in the old days, it wasn't so long ago. I wish you well. Oh, sign your pen.
What was that? What was that? That was like a sleepy vetter.
I was doing Sleepy Vetter. I was doing Sleepy Eddie Vedder. If you're new to the show, that was Patrick Keenan from the Winter Sounds. Go to Spotify.
Award-winning theme song.
Listen to those albums. Send him treats.
For sure.
Look for him. Find him in person. Aggressively attack him. Get pictures. Get autographs.
Call your local radio station's request and dedication line on Wednesday nights from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Yeah.
And tell them you want to hear Patrick Keenan in the Winter Sound.
93.3 The Planet. Don't sit on your hands.
Yeah.
Help Patrick reach the stars.
Do you think there's a radio station called The Planet? Or
It's from my hometown. I just said exactly.
So.
93.3 The Planet. There was B93.7. There was Rock 101.
You know what we had?
Light Rock 98.9. Why does Light Rock have to go, hey, the way we say that? But
it's soft.
When they go, hey, we're Light Rock, like that's all you needed to say. You don't need to embellish it with Light Rock 98.9. Like even look, we don't even aggressively.
Smooth jazz. That's my favorite is smooth jazz.
They have to say it the way they think the tone of their station is. Like the 93.1, there's like 93.3, The Planet.
Like in Rochelle, it's 102.3, The Coyote.
Okay, I have to come in here because I think it is very sick that you will have me sign into a Zoom and watch y'all act a damn fool before you introduce me.
What's your station, Naomi?
I guess it would have been Z100.
How did they do it?
Sizzle.
How do they do it? It's got to be.
I
Come
don't
on, bring
remember.
it in. Bring us back from break. Coming at you. Bring us back. Bring us back.
Z100. You know, we're loving life.
Gotta get you excited. That's the thing. Yeah. You're happy you're here.
Oh, hell yeah. Naomi, we are very glad you're here. Tee her up. She's here.
Naomi Ekperigin, ladies and gentlemen. She is our guest today.
Oh, my God.
For a lot of people, we are now doing guests on this show, and we've had quite a few. I think you might be, is this number 10?
I have 10? 10.
You know, I thought you were going to say the first black person.
Is this the first black person we've ever talked to? We've ever even talked to?
Ever.
This is like a life-changing episode
for both of us.
I have only conversed with white people since day one.
But we've
this
been
is
on
groundbreaking.
We've been
That's
on
why
this white guilt kick, and we...
White guilt 98.3. They're guilty. They're guilty, and they know it. They carry this with them.
I don't say this with any hyperbole. Phenomenal stand-up comedian, great writer,
special on Netflix,
speaker of truths on Instagram. That shit that you're doing on there, I'm like, oh, this should just be played in schools. Like, some of that stuff is so fucking good, Naomi.
Well, it's funny because I had like kind of stopped because basically I was when we we're all in the house when we were deep in quar and I was like I may never do stand up again.
Right.
I was like time to become a front facing comedian and I said IG videos, baby.
Yeah.
And so it was literally just like any thought or feeling I've had, and then now that we're like kind of back out in the world, I've lost my impulse for it because I'm like nobody cares.
I'm out. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, but like before when I was like, oh, we're all at home and equally bored.
I shared
like,
some
why
of your
not?
shared some of your stuff. I mean, in my opinion, you should do it like once a month. Be
just
like,
get in there, deep.
Yes, Naomi's newsletter. Yeah. And just
yes, the alliteration. I like that.
Oh, that's what you want from
Naomi's newsletter. Any alliteration makes you feel good.
Coming at you for 102.3 The Coyote. We got Naomi's newsletter coming up at the top of the hour. Before that, we're going to hit traffic and your school closings for this crazy weather day we're having.
So it's all the radio stations everywhere. It's the same voices. Not all the time, but a lot of the time.
Do you think? What do you think the radio guys do when they're done radioing. But by that I mean what? You
Yes.
radio what? You DJ like 4 hours, 5 hours a day. Like, do you think they're done? Do you think they like go work somewhere else?
And they're in so early, talking about morning.
Well, I think it's probably a 6 hour, minimum 6 hour shift. Like, I
4
have a couple
a.m.,
people who
5
do it.
a.m.?
Well, it depends on your time, but I know a couple people who do it, and they're in 2 hours ahead of time. They have a pre-show meeting for everything that they're going to run down in that show.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, they're either doing most of them, even the big ones, have at least one a month, but everybody else, it's like once a week or twice a week. They have promotion things they have to go and do. Hey, we're doing our watch party tonight of the Cubs versus the White Sox at Smitty's, which is
You should do this, DVK. You have the voice for it. It's too natural the way you're slipping into it.
There's a delicate, just a velvety depth to it.
But it's velvety depth, but with buoyancy.
You're listening to
there's
Velvet
buoyant.
Depth with a buoyance.
I love that you guys are essentially like, you've got that professional, soulless speech pattern that has no depth behind the eyes.
Yes. I must concede, I did always think that Artie Lang's job on Stern, I was like, oh, that's fun. You're the comic, and it's like, so anyways, chime in whenever you think you got something. So literally, you could just sit there, drink a coffee early in the morning, and go, yeah, I'll get in when I feel like getting in. I got nothing right now.
It's like double
no
Dutch.
one cares.
It's like double Dutch. You're like, I just didn't. I never had my opening.
I didn't see the window.
Yeah.
I didn't see the window.
Didn't see it.
I didn't like the pace.
Shall we? Well, we got letters. Before we go to those, I want to tell everybody, you can... A couple things. It's your podcast. We just talk about it. So if you're new, that's literally how it goes. You send us the letters, the penpalspod@gmail.com, or mail us. Snail it up. We love those so much. We just got a cool gift we'll unveil in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Care of, this is the snail mail, care of the Pen Pals Podcast, 5419 Hollywood Boulevard, Suite C, number 121, Los Angeles, California, 90027.
That's correct. And if you're new to the show and you write us letters, we just want to reiterate, if you're brand new, you maybe don't know this yet, the length of the letter really matters. So if you go super short, that's totally fine. Give us something to bite and chew on, and we can go best fries, and then it exploded.
That's all we needed.
If you write us a 3-page thing, there's just no space in the show to read it and digest it and respond to it.
A better podcast would edit it and figure it out. We don't have that.
There's
bandwidth.
a chance we go down that road, but right now
it takes so much work.
Keep it not as short and sweet, but look at the length and go, if I were to read this, does it take me about a minute to read it? You know what I mean?
Remember,
there you go.
If there's more information we need, or we feel like, hey, we left something out, write us again.
That's right.
You can always write us again. That's what a Patreon is.
Wow, that's a slippery slope, guys.
We're on
keep writing us. Tell us more.
We've got some back and forth that are eternal.
We are in 3 chain mail letter things right now. It is scary.
Let's go to the letters.
Are you doing Alan Parsons?
I'm doing Alan Parsons, Chicago Bulls. Okay. Your Chicago Bulls. This is coming to us from a friend of ours who travels a lot, and I like this letter. It's pretty good for 3 stand-up comedians, I think. There's a lot of relevancy here. Is relevancy a word? Here we go. Hello, hosts of Pen Pals Podcast. This seemed like the only feasible way to get past arguing about order of names, even though I believe it should be a tallest to shortest order. I'll let you lament about whether that's length of name, height, list of credits, etc., etc.
But it would be me more often than not.
You are taller. Yeah. I spent the last week driving around the Pacific Northwest for work, going down a wormhole, if you will, of past episodes. The weather in the PN dubs can be quite taxing on my mental health, so hearing your wonderful voices did bring a smile to my face and help slay those rainy weather downdowns. While I'm nowhere near some of the newer listeners to catching up, I do think I came up with a cool idea that other Pennies and Pals would like to hear. Over the course of your career, what travel hacks have you discovered and think novice travelers should know? I'll give one, as I fly close to 180,000 miles a year and spend most of my days in the cabin of a United flight. If you want to get past baggage fees, take your bag through security, and you can gate check your bag for no fee, as it helps clear up overhead space. Please feel free to use my name and ridicule me once again on your lovely podcast. Yours truly, the only 5-star delivery driver of Dairy Queen Blizzards, Will Hancock. Have a great day, boys.
Okay.
All right.
Travel hacks? First of all, little backstory.
So that's a good travel hack.
Will Hancock was our transpo guy for the High Plains Comedy Festival in Denver.
Ben Roy's High Plains Comedy Festival.
Ben Roy's High Plains Comedy Festival that Adam Clayton Holland gets to perform at.
Yeah.
And great guy. Rory made him take us to a Dairy Queen.
I want to be very clear about something because that
Wow.
makes
Andrew
me
did.
sound
Andrew
crazy.
did.
Diva is what it sounds like.
I said, Will, I think we're done with the picnic. Can we get a ride back to the hotel? He said, and by the way, it was a group picnic. This wasn't just us having our own picnic, which would be very funny.
Awesome.
I think it'd be awesome.
I think so. Just the two of you, and then you call them and go, "We're done with the picnic."
Yeah. Hey,
Can you be here at
Will,
5?
where are you? Where are you?
And he
We're
said,
out of red wine.
Hey guys, just so you know, I'm not transpo for everything that you decide to do.
I have a family and a life.
right.
He shows up, and he showed up. He was there playing cornhole with us, losing to me and Daniel, winners, champions. And I said, can we stop at Dairy Queen and grab Blizzards if it's out of the way?
You're right. You're like, if it doesn't mess anything up.
If it doesn't mess anything up, scratch it. But if there's anything on the way, and so I look, I see one, and I don't know if I've voiced this to Will yet, but Will goes, I know of one, and he goes well out of the way.
Yeah.
When there was one that was in the way, and I also want to say the one he went to, 2 stars. Yikes. Yikes.
Well, do you remember they closed while we were waiting?
We're in line. They close. They reopen. It's like something's going on in there, and I don't like it.
Literally, we got to the window after we ordered. The guy goes, "Hey, I need a minute," and they shut the window and didn't come back for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh,
you know what the
my
other thing was?
God.
You know when you pull up to a fast food and you know this person, for instance, at a Dairy Queen, this isn't every fast food because there's like stations and people have their thing.
Yeah.
Dairy Queen, it's like, I'm running the drive-through and the register, but also I'm going to be the one that's making your treat.
Yep.
So you pull up, and I just saw in this dude's eyes, this guy has no passion for this ice cream. He does not care.
And I don't blame him. And I don't blame him.
Yeah, you got to keep going. You got to keep going. When you look at somebody, you know, it's like you're the person who's going to be putting this together.
You don't care.
And it's like, and you know, you deal with somebody where you're like, you're not having it today. You know that person is not having it in any capacity.
Right.
And like that moment when you see that person, like, don't you, where you're like, like, it's like if you had just been one person behind, you would have gotten the girl who was in it to win it that day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're like, oh, I got the one who ain't having it.
Yeah. And there is a part of you that's like, I don't think this dude's going to spit in the ice cream.
No.
I just think he's not going to care about the quality of the ice cream.
Yeah, it's going to be a puddle. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's going to like slop it on top and like things
Too
are
many
gonna be falling.
toppings. He's not going to blend it properly. He doesn't care. And also to then question him and go, hey, you didn't make this right. Then you go, who am I? I can see this guy hates his job, and I'm the one going, do it again. Make another one.
So we went and it was great though. We went and Andrew Young.
Wait, I need to ask though. No, I need to ask though. You go there, right? You go to place an order, and then he's like, I need a minute.
Yes.
And then y'all sat for 5 minutes.
Yes.
At any point did y'all think, maybe we should just go? This
Here's
is
the
not
thing.
bode
I
well.
thought, what if they're being robbed? And that was his like way
And he
of
just
being
he
like,
just comes back and he goes, the line's long enough. We'll make that money back real quick. That would be the most optimistic employee. He's like, I don't care. It's not my money.
What do you need?
We waited in the drive-through line for so long that we couldn't leave without our. We had overly committed
Also,
too much time to this project.
It was one of those like Dairy Queen or fast food places where they barely tucked it into the lot they had. So once you were in, you couldn't. There was nowhere
Just like
to go.
get out. You couldn't just like turn out.
No.
Okay.
No, you're
okay.
trapped by the curb.
Yeah, you were.
Okay. Okay, you're in
But it was
deep.
very good. Will was great. One of the man, when you do any sort of festival, there's so many variables. When you find somebody like a transpo person or
Because he
somebody who
cared.
works on it, who's
He
like,
cared.
I got you. You're
He
like,
cares.
Oh, thank God.
He was always there. He was always setting up. He was always ready to whatever we needed. He was like, I got you.
I
He
love
cared.
being taken care of.
I
There's
know.
like nothing I love
know.
more
Nothing.
than like things being handled for me.
Yes.
And
Where
he's
you're just
great.
like,
He overdoes
move
it.
me around. I don't care. It's happening.
It's
He
happening.
overdoes it, and not in the way where you go, "Hey, stop it." He overdoes it in the way where you go, "Well, shit, I'm benefiting from this overdoing it." So
Yeah, you're like,
great.
thank you, Dad.
Yeah,
thank you, Daddy.
I love you, Will. I love you.
To chime in for his letter, can I give the most basic travel hack?
I would love that.
I don't care if somebody hearing this travels like 2 round trips a year. Just go get TSA pre-check.
I agree
Oh,
1,000%.
yeah, baby.
Just
Absolutely.
1,000%.
go to you are okay. Even if you had 2 round trips, that's 4, right?
Yes.
So it's $85 for
5 years. Jinx.
So
1,
you're-
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10.
I'm not going to do the direct math, but you're looking at somewhere between $5 and $10 a flight, right?
Yeah.
So for that amount of money, you've removed a lot of stress. And I don't care if we're talking about airports, Sunday church with grandma.
Yes.
I don't care if we're talking about dinner on a Friday.
Yes.
Whatever you can do that's going to tell me, hey, you want less stress? Yes. I'm in.
Yep.
So I know it's basic, and I know everybody hears about it, but the amount of people who think I don't travel enough to warrant it. Yes. Have you been to an airport? You travel enough to warrant it.
My wife, for stand-up, obviously travel a lot.
Yeah.
My wife doesn't travel as much. And when we do go on like family trips for whatever reason, I'm like, even if you just paid $80 and you got to use TSA pre-check one time, in 5 years, which is not realistic at all. But let's say it was.
Where would you fly one
it's
way?
It's still worth it.
Yes.
Because the security line is just it's a hell on earth. It's
demoralizing. It really is about stripping you of your humanity.
Yes.
You know what it is to be, stripped of your shoes. There's something about taking off your shoes. They do that to you when you're getting checked into prison, honey. They're saying, take off your belt, take off your shoes.
Yeah,
what could be a suicide risk?
You're going to air prison.
Absolutely. They break you. They break you down.
Break you before.
And that way, when you go in that tiny ass seat and you kind of elbow wrestling with a stranger, you give up. They know what they're doing. It is a slow erosion of your self-worth.
And they talk to you that way, too. They really treat you. They really, the authoritative mindset, and not everybody, but I would say a large majority of TSA, they're like, I don't have time for your shit. And you back up and you just go, you know what? When people are mad at the DMV, you're like, I get it. Yeah. What are you having to deal with? Sure. It's crazy.
Exactly.
So I get in your job, you got to deal with some crazy shit. But can you not recognize the people who know the rules and are playing and going, hey, I also want to get this train going.
I know.
I also.
That's like one of my pet peeves is like when I'm like I think I'm maybe like the good kid in me where it's kind of like, when someone will say to the room like, everybody, we need you to walk in an orderly line or something like that. I'll be like, I am not one of those people. Do you know what I mean? Like I need to be acknowledged as like having behaved well, and I don't like being lumped in with the riffraff.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I was traveling a lot, pre-pandemic, and I got TSA pretty late, and I will say this is one of those things. My mother can be a little overbearing.
Okay.
And she did at one point. She goes, Naomi, I have started TSA pre for you and Andrew. Okay, I need you to just finish the application and go sign up. And it was one of those things where it's like, why are you doing this? Why are you so obsessed with me and TSA pre? Like, back up off me. And I will say, she was right.
She was
right. You're right. It changed the game. Being able to walk, and also because I will travel with at least one. I have 2 cats and a dog. I'm traveling with one of those animals at any
my
time.
God, I did not even know that.
Pre is changing the game. It makes it so much easier to just like walk through. I mean, they still make you take an animal out of its bag, and they still like put the bag through because I'm putting a bomb in the cat carrier. But
so you put an animal in a bag. Is that the term? An animal bag? Because what I'm picturing,
it's a bag. It's a soft. No, it's not like a sack.
What I'm picturing means you should not have pets.
She's got a satchel.
Just a duffel bag. Oh, my cat that's in this duffel bag? Yeah, let me get her out.
No, it's like a soft duffel with a light frame.
Exactly.
Right?
Some mesh.
I know.
Some mesh, breathable mesh.
Some good mesh, little sight lines.
Yeah, breathable, which is a big part of it.
That's your key. That's your key to it.
I hear.
Okay, here's another one I have that I've recently been doing. Most flight attendants are treated like such shit that a simple "How you doing today?" First stop, last flight, any sort of conversation will likely, if you want to have a cocktail, I would say 7, 8 out of 10 times, if you were the person that was, how are you doing today? Yours is not going to be charged.
Oh.
They're going to be like, oh, don't worry about it. You're fine.
Yeah.
You don't have no idea what I'm dealing with in the back. I'm charging people who didn't order drinks. I'm so mad about
it. Someone else is paying for this for you.
You're simple, just like last flight of the day, like, no, I got 2 more. Where are you based out of? Well, we're out of Chicago. I love Chicago. And they're like, well, hopefully it's a great flight. They're like, thanks so much. Yeah. And then later on, you're like, I just get like a Tito's and soda? They're like, yeah, well, I got you. It's
Here,
fine.
can I just say I kind of wish we traveled together in, let's say, 4 months. And I know this sounds mean, but it would be fun to be sitting next to you, witness this, and in the middle of your questions, the flight attendant goes, "Cut the shit! You're not getting any free fucking drink," and I get to be witness to this not working.
But then you know how much I would love that flight attendant? Then I would be like, I have to pay for it.
And then you go, you know what? We're actually not even going to have drinks. Here's $40.
Yes.
I think the best question, the easiest question, to just kind of like warm somebody up in that service situation, like, I say, "Hey, girl." First of all, girl. Okay, that's how I'm doing.
No matter what.
No matter
Hey,
what,
girl.
actually.
Hey, girl.
Sometimes I can read a guy who will let me call him girl, but then I can
Yeah.
also tell when they're not having it.
But what, Naomi, when you read it on like a 58-year-old man named Douglas, and you throw him with a "hey, girl," and he's like, "Hey," you that feeling of being like, I fucking knew
I
you
knew
hit
it.
that pitch.
I knew
it.
you'd
You
love
hit
Yep.
that pitch. Yeah.
I knew you were fun. I could tell by your suspender, But then you go, "Hey, girl," it's like, "They treating you all right today?" You're trying to see how people are doing, and you're like, "We are in this together." Like
Yes.
you are like, are people treating you right? Are you being oppressed? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're gonna
Yeah.
say that to anybody, okay, regardless of their race, regardless of their
Right.
gender, regardless of
Sure.
their age, okay?
Yeah.
And you're just really letting them know, like, I see you, and I
get
know you're out in these streets struggling.
Yeah.
And then they go, "Okay, she's fun." And then like and then whenever I ask anyone for anything, I go, "So sorry to trouble you. You are a
Yes.
queen, and
Yeah.
I thank you for this blessing." Like I do a very big lead up into just being like,
Yes.
Could you pass me my bag from from overhead?" Like,
Yeah. But you come,
I wish you went way too big. Like, could you just carry this to my next flight? They're like, what?
help me. You just put your
"Will you
hands
come
up
with
like
me
a
to my
toddler.
house? Come to
Yeah.
my house, please."
I think it says to them, hey, I know what jobs are. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's the equivalent, specifically talking about flight attendants, or even when someone gets a little testy with someone at the gate, check-in space, where you're like, you want to say to them like, "Hey, that other person on the other side, it could be on them. They might be a total pile of shit. But if you match them, you will not get what you think you are owed in this exchange.
right.
Yep.
They have the fucking power. You
Right.
have to play the game."
Yep.
I think what it says is, at least anyone in that industry, when you're around someone and we've talked about this all the time, when someone just talks down to a waiter or waitress, you want to call timeout and you want to look at them and go, "What do you think?" Like, who do you think in this interaction you are? Do you think because this person's job is that they come over and based on the industry of a restaurant, that somehow you're above this person just because they have to go get something for you? Do you
Right.
actually think that there's and I bet you it's a majority of people, they think there is a status with them being the customer and you being the person who's bringing them the food,
Other
as
way.
opposed to going, "Well, I
Exactly.
just want to eat," and you work
You're
in a
the
place where
provider.
we
You're
are
my
on the
provider.
exact
Fully.
Yeah.
same. We are here. I just
Yeah.
am in this role. But if you came to where I work, I would be your job and you would be the person that I'm
Right.
servicing. Yeah.
Well, it's also like you're doing me a favor. Like, I'm lazy also, right? Like what's happened is I want to eat and I don't want to cook.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Or I don't want to
Yes.
like wait the 2 hours it would take to
Yes.
maybe get to my destination and just work it out. So it's like you're helping me because I'm lazy and fat. And then also my thing of like when someone's going off on a server, you say you want to say timeout and say, "What do you think?" I want to say timeout, babe.
I'm out.
Babe, who hurt you? Because if this is what gets you off,
Yeah, what are you
you've
really
been
mad
hurt.
about?
You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like this is making you feel juiced in a way.
Yeah.
To be able to talk to this person this way, and it's like, okay, so you don't have power in other parts of your life. Do we need to call your mother? Do we need to call your ex? Do we need
Yes.
to make your daughter be nice to you?
Yes.
Like there's something else here,
Yeah.
and I want to unpack that.
And
Yeah,
also
100%.
to also play both sides of it, I've also been places where the waiter or waitress where you're like, "Are you mad at us? Like, did
I've
we
done that.
do something?"
I've done that
I feel like
before.
we just want some drinks and just so you know, out of the gate, even if you are a pile of shit, I can't not tip 20%.
Right.
But that 20% is obviously a higher percentage the more money we spend, and we're here for drinks and we're here to spend money.
Right.
But if you're an awful person,
Yeah.
I know.
you're still going to get 20%, but I'm maybe going to get one drink and I'm going to get the fuck
I've
out
asked
of here.
servers before. I go, are you mad at me? And I swear,
What's the reply?
Okay, I've had ones where
They
like,
go, yes.
right, or they're
Yes.
like, it'll go stay negative. Or they're like, no,
Right.
and you're like, okay, it just seems like you were having a bad day.
Yeah.
And then I've had other ones where like, are you mad at me? And they're like, what? And I'm like, it just seems like I made you mad. And then they go, we had 3 people like call out sick, and that's like, I don't have enough. And then you hear your thing and you're like, I get it.
Right.
What do I'll give you one less table, like not in a bad way.
Yeah.
Or like,
Yeah.
do you want me to go yell at your manager for you and say, you can't do this to this person? And then now they're like, I wish you could.
And then you
Now
say, can I
you're
get
a
a Tito's
teammate.
and soda? Can I get a Tito's and soda?
Yeah, it
Not
is.
pay
It's
for
always
it.
just
Then they're like,
Tito's
I
and
got
soda. The guy's like, dude, this is McDonald's. We don't have Tito's. And also, why is he guy at the table?
I'm behind the bar.
The world's fanciest McDonald's. Hey, are you mad at me? And the guy's like, what do you mean? You're like, you haven't even come to our table to ask what we want to eat. And he's like, it's fucking McDonald's, dude. You gotta come over
Okay.
here.
All right. Well, I get it. I get it
not
now.
know
I guess.
that?
I get it. You don't care. I get
Okay, we've never been to a McDonald's, so we don't know that.
Okay. Speaking of McDonald's, I want to bring it back to this. Do either of you bring food for the plane? I've gotten
Absolutely
big
not.
on this. Lissa turned me onto a sandwich from Jersey Mike's that keeps really well.
Oh, no, hold on. Now,
And
do you
so then I bring it in my book bag on my bag, and then now I don't have to worry about crazy prices or bad airport food. Or not having.
Are you saying a Jersey Mike's that you bought at the airport?
no?
No, you
No,
came in with
before.
it.
Came in with it.
I'm not opposed to it. I don't think that I have that level of work ethic.
You pack 2 days before you're gonna leave. You pack
I
so much
know.
better than I do.
I know.
I've been to your house. I'm like, what's all this? And you're like, oh, I'm leaving. I'm like, Friday you are.
And I'm like,
yeah, I know,
well,
I'm
Friday
all packed.
next month. I can do that because I get so nervous about other elements. For me to then go, and now also food. You have now added to that.
I'm telling you,
that
it is a
mental
pro
disorder.
move.
list.
It is
Yeah.
having a turkey sandwich already in
I
your
do
bag.
like it. I do like
And
it.
then you
What's
just
on the sandwich? You said it keeps well. What's going on bread
you
wise? What's
stinking
going
up-
on sauce wise?
Are you stinking
it's
up?
their
your
like rosemary bread from
Jersey Mike's.
Jersey Mike's, and then it's maybe a Swiss cheese and turkey, and then a little bit of like not much because you just want a little like dusting of some mayo.
dusting?
Maybe there's
mayo.
ham on there too, and bacon. But it's like
Wow.
But
That's a lot.
you
4 kinds of meat and a touch of mayo.
you get it the night before, put it in the
he
fridge.
said a dusting of mayo,
Yeah.
which is not even
Just
the
to
right
give you-
texture.
No, exactly. That's why
No,
I'm
it
like,
is.
you can't
just a
test it.
powdered mayonnaise.
You guys don't have powder mayonnaise? Dude, powder mayonnaise keeps years longer
No, I
than
think
creamy
just,
mayonnaise.
just
Travel
you and
hack.
NASA. Just you and NASA have
Travel
powdered
hack.
mayonnaise.
You want powder
Powdered
all your
mayonnaise.
foods. No, and then you get it the night before, or if you're flying out later, get it that day or on the way, and you
Yeah.
are. Oh my God, when you're like, once we get up and I can get my Netflix going, I got that sandwich waiting,
Yeah.
and you didn't have to. You got to cut down on the amount of time you needed to get there, because I was just in Houston. And I went to go get, I was like, I'll just grab a Subway. I have just enough time to get a sandwich if everything goes right. But remember, you're at an
Right.
airport with so many people who don't know how to do anything right.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
half the
yeah.
time, neither do I.
Yeah.
So I showed up and I was like, oh, this isn't, I had to bail out of the line because I'm like, these people don't even understand how Subway works. I'm not going to like make
Yeah.
it in time. But when you have that, if you can, any sort of like, I'll eat this on the plane. Because the other problem is too, it's not just having a reward for yourself. We all know this from traveling. Sometimes you'll get to a city and by time you've Ubered and you get to the hotel or whatever, it's 6 o'clock and you're like, oh, I haven't eaten since 8 a.m.
Yeah.
Right.
Or I haven't eaten today.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that's the other thing too. It helps
Peanuts
you.
and pretzels.
Yeah. Oh, no
Right.
way. You don't want that.
Or you get into
Sorry, go ahead.
no, just places like okay, so I'm from New York, and it's crazy to me how many places where if you land after 9 p.m.,
Nothing.
you just shit out of luck.
Yeah.
You cannot get a meal.
You can't.
You know what I mean? After
Yeah.
9:30, and that's something that has
Oh, wait,
really
hold
thrown
on.
me.
Naomi, we lost
lost
you for
you.
a sec. We lost your audio.
You lost my audio.
Oh,
Oh,
there
you're
you
back.
go.
Okay,
There
you
you
said
go.
you know what I mean after 9. You can go right from there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Because everything's closed.
everything's closed. I went to Vermont once. My God, help you if you're hungry at 8:15 p.m. Help you if you're hungry. You're not going to do it. They're not going to help you. They're not going to give it to you. You better get some leaves, some
Yeah.
bark, and make it work.
Yeah.
And that is a nightmare.
And that's granola. That's their granola in Burlington, Vermont. You grab some bark and some grass, some slightly chewed grass.
Yep, sweet, a little sweet.
That's where you're going to get your sweeter flavor from. Dip that in the river, and you are good to go.
The one thing I'll say, piggybacking off of Will's stuff, and then we'll roll out. We'll go.
Yeah.
But is I have done before where I had 2 carry-ons because going through TSA doesn't give a shit about what gate you're going to. They don't care about United, Delta, US, whatever. So you have 2 carry-ons. Then when you get up there and it's, hey, we want, if somebody's willing to gate check, that usually happens at the where the like screen is and people are like getting their boarding passes. It doesn't happen where you get checked in and out. You could take one of your carry-ons. The person who actually scans your boarding pass doesn't know that you already gave another bag.
Yeah.
Like it is a good way to get around baggage fees, or if you have an extra bag. Sometimes if you have a bag that is not even carry-on size, once you get through, they'll go, oh, you can't bring this on. They're like, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. And then they'll just go, well, we're just going to gate check it. Because they don't care either.
Yes.
So that is all real.
The only
other thing I'll say is to the best of your ability, it's not even a hack, it's just advice. Really make sure you know your group number and your your number. The amount of people that I've had to, even on Southwest, where I go, well, you're in C. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, this is it. We're pre-boarding. We're not even to A's yet. And they're like, okay. And then they just stay right where they are. And go, all right, well, this is somebody else.
They know, though, DVK. They know.
They know.
They just think that they can somehow. There's nothing I hate more. And it's so funny because me and Andrew, we become 90-year-old people. We hate poor line maintenance.
Oh, yeah.
And we will grumble like Statler and Waldorf. Like when we are at the airport, it's like, you know it ain't your time. And get you up in here. And the moment they're like, we're boarding, people just start creeping in. And it's like, you know you in group double D. Okay?
You know it.
You know you are. You creeping.
Yeah. You know your flight's not till tomorrow. You know that. You know it.
Oh, I love it.
Will, I'm so glad you wrote us a letter, and new listener to the show. I'm pretty sure Live and Dimmer was the first show that Will had seen. Will, thank you. Great letter. We love it. We wish you well. Sincerely, your pen pals, Rory Scovel.
And Daniel Van Kirk.
And
Naomi Ekperigin.
And we're back.
How
about those ads, folks? You're listening to the Pen Pals with Daniel and Rory.
WPPL, the Pen Pals. Hey, you have a show on the 18th.
I will be at Largo December 18th. Naomi did one of the, I think the last one that I did.
Yes.
She was there.
John,
but I'll be doing that, and it's it's an and friends kind of thing. So it'll be probably 4 or 5 of us, and right before Christmas. So if you're in LA and you want to come out, tickets are available right now at at Largo, Los Angeles. Largo at the Coronet website. So go check that out.
Naomi, what about you?
You know what, honey? Just keep an eye on Netflix, okay? We're coming through with something for Kwanzaa, y'all. And so just keep your eye on that little half-hour special.
What's your handle for social media? Because you'll be announcing it there, right?
Yeah, visit me on Instagram, because Twitter, it's like, no. Instagram at Blacktress Comedy. Blacktress spelled exactly how you think it is.
Yeah.
So fucking funny. As for me, everything's at danielvankirk.com. We restarted out these camp games where it's like 12 to 14 people, and we do like games digitally. We also do like Jackbox. We just brought them back. I did them in 2020, and I just started doing them again now, and they're very, very fun, he said in a boring tone. But they really, we just did it. I was like, oh my God, why did I ever stop doing this? So they're super fun. I think some of them are already sold out, but if you go to Daniel Van Kirk, you can do that, and there's bingo, and then
wait, I can play games with you?
Yeah, it's all digital. We do bingo, and we raise money for no-kill animal shelters, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and food banks. If you ever want to join and just call numbers with me,
yes,
Rory's done it. I would text you the numbers, and then you'll join in. And there's like usually, I don't know, like 50, 70 people, and you would just read off the numbers. It's so much fun.
Okay, I'm in.
5
all right,
minutes.
We'll talk
and
about
they love it. It's 5 minutes. You're on for like 5 minutes.
It's so much fun. So all that stuff's at danielvankirk.com, and then my tour is looking to start back up in March. So let's get together. Let's hang out. That's it for me, I think. Oh, hey, everybody else. If you're a Patreon member, listen up for that announcement because things are changing. If you're not a Patreon member, you want to be. It's only $5. That's it.
Going to be shifting $5. If you're paying more than that, shift it right down to $5. It's going to be $5 across the board no matter what.
All right, ready?
Yes.
Okay. To my dearest Dan Van Kovel and Rory Skirk, pronounced like a 70s detective vehicle screeching to a stop. So it'd be like Rory. Okay. I'm a penny working on Pally status, flying through the historical library of podcast episodes. In the teaser regarding favorite fries, Daniel asked for letters about trying to start a fire. Well, here you go, you beautiful cackling idiots. This story takes place where a lot of stories of young male idiotic behavior occur. A cabin on a lake in Wisconsin, just outside Cadillac. Here's a long story trimmed down to podcast length. Look at this. Somebody gets it.
It's poetic.
Wow.
Night falls. The afternoon beers transition to strong brown drink. The campfire on the beach is built and lit with the teensiest bit of help from your friend and mine, the tool shed gas can from the side of the cabin. Start the countdown to terrible choices. Enough time goes by just staring at fire. It's time to spice things up and fuck around with gas. #gashole. I began splashing gas on the fire, and of course, no shit, you moron, the flame jumped up and streamed
Jumped up the stream.
jumped up the stream and back into the gas can. As flame shoots from the plastic nozzle of the gas can, the three gentlemen around the fire scatter in all directions, diving into the sand, expecting some kind of A-team slow-motion explosion. #slow-mo-splow. Much to our dismay and relief, the gas can just sat there burning. Not knowing what to do, but wanting to get this fireball out from under down low hanging pine tree branches, I kicked the flaming gas can into the shallows of the lake's edge. The plastic can melts. The remaining gas spreads over the surface of the water, setting the entire shoreline on fire. Realizing that we had avoided any imminent danger, we did what any group of intoxicated male 20-somethings on their third night at the lake cabin would do. We jumped into the fiery lake and danced around the flames until the fuel finally burned off. I am not proud of this story. In fact, it was one of the many idiotic happenings that led to me leaving the drink behind. So, lessons were learned. Have you gentlemen, and you Naomi, ever done something so stupid that you're amazed you survived? Love the show, friends. Your Penny, soon to be Pally, Chris Sullivan. Okay.
Wow. First of all, an artist. Okay. First of all, an auteur. First of all, novel vibes. And that was gorgeous.
Well, it is, I don't know if you guys have ever met, but it is a friend of ours, Chris Sullivan from the TV show This Is Us and other great stuff, Stranger Things, The Nick. So
I can't.
Full disclosure, I know Chris, and I feel like I've heard parts of the story because when I was reading it, I was like, why do I know this story? And then I got to the end and I was like, oh, it's Chris Sullivan.
Yeah. That's terrifying. And if I'm a part of that, there are
the problem is it wasn't terrifying to them. They were like, oh, lake fire, get in.
See,
there's no amount of
very
drunk.
Caucasian.
Yeah.
It's also like dudes. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Rory, but I do need to ask both
fine.
of you because you're both like, I think of you as like white dudes, like not in a bad way, but like you grew up in that space. You know what I mean? Like into being outside, like being into outside. What is with the whites and lake houses and cabins?
My family
and like that
has
whole
one.
vibe?
It has one
right,
in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. Wait, that's the thing. You're from
Northern Illinois. Yeah.
Well, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So like, what's going on there? Like, so you don't have to be rich to have a lake house necessarily,
No, we
right?
are
like,
not.
but
No,
in there,
we
like,
are
you can just kind of
very
have a
not
house,
rich. Right?
And then, is it the place where, once you're older, meaning teen 20s, it's like party at the lake house?
Yes. So here's the thing.
Yeah.
Mine. I can only speak from my experience, obviously, but I'm saying that to say, I feel like how I handled having a cabin was different than I've never had a party there ever in my teens, college years, 20s. Since my early 20s, every year have done a guys' weekend with all the guys I grew up with, and there's 16 of us in our group.
That is so fun and cute. And I want to watch that movie.
That does feel like a party, though.
It is.
It is.
Not a party? Okay.
It is, but it's never. No person, like some people have said, hey, can I bring my brother? You know, and I've let them, but I've never had anyone there that didn't understand what it meant to me to have them there.
Yes.
I've dated,
Respect.
had full like meaningful relationships with women that just very nice, and we really enjoyed each other's company, and it was right for that time in our lives. But it never got to the point where I took them to the cabin.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's like, my grandpa always wanted a place up there, and when he passed away, my grandmother took the little measly life insurance that he had, and that's how we got this place, and it was still extremely cheap. Even for that time, we got very lucky. And we're not even on the lake. We have lake access, so we're like, that's kind of like.
I'm so impressed. Don't worry. You don't have to.
whole-
You don't have to like
too.
undersell it. Okay, I'm proud of you. You're
So-
thriving, and it's okay.
So I think I always felt like, man, this was my grandpa's dream. I never would want to do something here that disrespected that. But I do know of people who have lake houses where they're like, yeah, just leave it. We have somebody who comes and cleans afterward. That is not us. The rule is, in fact, when you leave, it has to look like you were never there. That is always the rule. And every person I've ever brought there gets that and respects it.
And is there also an element of what you're asking is what the attraction is to going to the lake and doing the cabin thing?
Yeah, like, I mean, because and I say this and it sounds silly, but it's like I only know it from movies and TV.
Yes.
It feels like, obviously, it's like people have it. But I'm like, when you're actually living that lake life.
Yeah.
Naomi,
Yeah.
I say this on the love I have for my grandfather. Any summer, if I'm at the cabin and you are playing Milwaukee, or like Barrel of Laughs,
Madison.
or Comedy on Stage,
Madison,
or even if you're at Appleton, I am going to contact you, and if you have an extra day, I want you to come over to the cabin. Well, maybe we could plan it, and then Andy can be there too.
Oh my God, I would die to be in a cabin.
Here's what I think it is, and I
mean it. I do mean this.
That's very nice. Thank you.
I think it's one of those things that the moment you do it one time, like he's saying, you get there, the moment you pull in, park, and you sort of walk up, you immediately go, oh, okay, I get it.
Like, I can't wait for Rory to go.
It's
like
I
it's
get
going to
it.
happen.
Like, I didn't grow up camping. My dad, like, that was not what we did. We didn't camp. And I remember the first time I sort of did go camping, I was like, oh, I get it. I get why this is fun. I also get why it's terrifying. And I also get why I still don't have the knowledge of how to do it by myself or even be the one that's in charge of organizing it because I don't really know what it is. But I do know that for 1 or 2 nights, I can sort of handle the idea of going, okay, we're disconnecting from the reality that we do live in and reconnecting with the more real reality of what it means to be a human being on this planet and not this other version of, technologically highly evolved people. You get to get back to exactly what these simple things of air, water, ground. The sun is up,
Heat.
Then the moon is up.
Yeah.
The wind sounds good. Don't the trees smell nice? Don't you feel re-energized? And you go, oh, that's right. All of our advancements are actually distracting us from the thing that actually makes us
There's
people.
no other place in the world where I have ever sat around a table or outside or by a campfire and just talked to people than the cabin.
So my point being specifically about cabins and the lake, what I just described to you about camping and how good that feels, when you get to someone going, hey, we're going to go to the lake house, you immediately know, oh, I'm going to get all those things, but this is sort of a glamping version because now we're going to be in a house and we can walk around and our social space can be great and we'll still do fire outside. But you know what I mean? It just makes it go, oh, not camping, but all the things that I do like about camping.
Yes.
Only now it's easier. There's a refrigerator.
Sure. Oh, Naomi, I can't
cook.
wait. I can't wait to look at your schedule.
Sounds very fun. No, it's like literally, it's so silly because it's like that, and to me, high schools that had quote quads. These are things I associate with TV and like, because growing up in the city, like I took the public bus to school, so I'm just like school bus, quad, lake house, like that stuff to me is like that's like TV, and I love it.
Yeah, I'm in the same way about college stuff because I went to Roosevelt University in Chicago. So there's no athletic, there's no sports. So I always wondered, like, what was it like on Saturday game day, like for these colleges?
When it's your school.
When it's their school. And whether you were even really into the game or not, it was just a buzz in the air that people were like excited, or like parents weekend or stuff like I never did any of that stuff. So I have some of that.
Well, maybe we'll go to a Clemson game in South Carolina so you can see how obnoxious it can be. No offense to any Clemson listeners.
Okay, so I can't wait till we get to talk to Chris Sullivan specifically about this story. But for us, have any of you had any moment where you're like, that was really stupid?
You're amazed you're alive. Yeah.
I've had one.
Go ahead.
At the cabin. I should not have been driving, so I'm not. There's no pride, and it's actually like how stupid. Same thing as Chris is saying here.
Stupid. You're not proud of it. Go ahead.
And two, I don't know if they want me saying their names, but 2 people in our friends group.
Name names. I don't even know them. Why do I want them outed?
Exactly.
They were like
nothing.
They were like, "Oh, we'll get on top of your car and hang on to the sunroof."
What do you say?
And I was going about maybe 50 miles an hour. And here's the thing: is even if I was completely sober, and I was not completely hammered,
Still
but I should
not
not have been
great.
driving. Even if I wasn't, you're in rural Wisconsin. A deer at any moment can come running out, or
Sauntering.
you just catch a thing or something, an animal runs out and scares you, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And we immediately after we got to the cabin, and it's a mile right from where we were to where we got. Immediately we got to the cabin. All three of us were like, we shouldn't have done that. Why did we do that?
That's good. At least that
was
you
so
immediate
stupid.
revelation of stupidity.
What's the benefit of like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you want to die. You want to die in a riptide trying to save a kid? Please don't. But I get it. But don't die being like, well, we thought it'd be fun to ride the sunroof.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah.
Oh,
Never forget. Daniel said, "Don't try to save kids." Never forget
well,
that.
I mean, you.
Oh, really? Okay. Hot take.
Well,
Hot take.
it's my
Never
platform.
try to save kids.
It's my platform.
Okay, good.
Just riptides.
Drink and drive. Don't go for kids.
Riptides are tough.
Riptides
Also,
are
don't
tough.
dive. Don't dive when you can't see the bottom, okay?
Oh.
Because you could end up paralyzed. Because you
Naomi,
dive, your
scares
head
me.
hits a rock
Yep.
or something.
Yes.
You got a
Anything.
C4, C5 break.
Yes.
Okay,
You're
don't
done.
do it.
You're done.
Don't do
and
it.
I know a person that happened to, and
Yes.
it haunts me my whole life thinking about it. I was in Lake Havasu, and people were jumping off this cliff, and two of my friends
No.
did it, and
No.
other
No.
than like some, they like welts and stuff, and one guy
Yeah.
had like bruise.
No.
I was like, there's no way I'm doing this.
No.
So I'm like,
Yeah.
but 100
Yeah.
people just, and I go, I don't
Doesn't
care.
even matter.
I don't
Same.
know.
Same.
I have no
Doesn't
idea. What
matter.
if a rock swims up to where I am?
Right.
Right.
Which
If the
is-
rock is swimming.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What if these
Who
rocks
knows?
start swimming
Yeah.
and then you're hitting a rock?
My
If
odds,
you're
it would-
sitting there assuming the rocks can swim, the drugs are already taking
You're
you.
in.
You've already jumped off that cliff up here. You don't need to actually do it.
oh man.
I went bridge jumping on a river with some buddies in high school. And now I don't necessarily think this is that dangerous, but it was an old bridge out of commission, metal, like sort of a train track, not in use. And we would go out, and my two buddies would do like flips off it and stuff. And it's pretty high up. And I'm
But wait,
very
you're bungieing? You're
No,
bungieing?
into
Free
the
jump.
river. Free jump
How
into
high
the
was
river.
that?
Oh
30
my
feet?
God.
We're talking pretty high up, 30, 40
Like
feet.
long enough to think about it on the way down.
Long enough to where when I got out to the middle, I had to sit there for a long time and in front of my friends, like question, like, do I do it? And the only reason I ended up doing it is because one of them goes, don't jump, just hang from it and then just drop. And for some reason that made me think, oh yeah, that's way safer.
What are you saying?
Such a rush. I did
Rory.
it. I think I did it one time, but they did it. And, it's not, I'm not like so shocked that we survived, but I look back and I was like, that maybe wasn't the smartest move. Also, one of those friends, same guy, took me and himself, his girlfriend at the time, and this other girl. We all went kayaking, and he was the only one who actually knew how to kayak. And we're sort of going down these rapids, and his girlfriend is like slams like into a tree, and like the kayak is like tilting up like this, and she's like moving forward, and I just happen to be right there.
Yeah.
I don't even know how I was able to do it, but right there to where I was able to like grab like her and like pull, like I was like right at the side and pull like onto the side, and we both just abandon our kayaks. The skirt kind of comes off when you do that, and
What?
he was just like right after that. I think he was like, let's just kind of hang out on the bank right now and just kind of chill. And I was like, yeah, like I didn't really know what kayaking is, but I now know it's terrifying if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And these rapids
definitely.
we were on, if anyone's listening, these are probably like nothing rapids. But if you don't know anything,
Right.
the smallest rapid is suddenly a class 5 like rapid.
Which is the
Right.
highest.
yeah.
Right.
Naomi, what about you? You ever do anything dumb?
Oh, so many dumb things. Okay, first, so I moved to Australia by myself when I was 25 years old.
Wow.
And I did a lot of traveling by myself. And there's some times where I'm like, how was I not murdered?
Yeah.
So like I forget where, and so, oh God, where was I? I was like outside of Sydney. It would have been like Barossa Valley, some sort of like wine country vibe. But it was like, obviously like young people, like we're having fun. And it was like, and it was one night where it was like me and literally 4 Australian boys. Men, I don't know them, but we're like literally just drinking and talking. And then they were like, let's like walk to this place. Pitch black country. You know me. I mean, what I told you, I was like, I don't understand lake life. I don't
Right.
know the outdoors.
Right.
Yeah,
And
yes.
here I am walking in the pitch black country roads with 4 Australian strangers. I'm
Yeah.
on the other side of the world. I was like,
Yes.
and I realized, and like we were drinking, and like one of the guys started flirting with me, and I was like, oh, spaghetti.
Yeah.
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 And then luckily, there was like one of the guys, like the friend who was kind of like, oh, he's like, mate, she's not having it right now, and like kind of like made it like not like funny, and it was fine, and like the guy like, you know, it's like we're like, oh, he's too drunk to actually do anything physically dangerous because he doesn't actually have his coordination. Yeah. So I was like, so it's literally this, but I was like, oh, you can't just be walking these streets and running around with strangers. And it was about
not
2
even
weeks
the
into
streets.
being
You're
there,
just in the countryside.
in the country. And I realized I was like, it actually like it. From then on, I was like much better. Like I still went and did stuff, but I just behaved better because I was like, if something happens to me on the other side of the world, like no one will know.
I know. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's no one to even say, oh, she didn't show up to something today.
Right.
Naomi, there's so many times I've been like, ask yourself, who knows I'm here? Who knows where I am?
Yeah.
Because that's the worst, too.
And the answer is always Siri. It's always Jeff Bezos and Siri.
Oh, this was pre-iPhone, honey. I was out in these streets, like rugged, and it was like, what am I doing? And then like
flip phone.
One time
this is flip phone days.
Yes, it was flip phone times. And then like one time in New Zealand, I took a Lord of the Rings tour, which I thought would be full of fun people, but it was just me and 4 elderly people. Yeah. And then the guy who ran the tour, he was like after the tour, we were like sitting having a drink, and he was like an old Kiwi guy, and then he's like, oh yeah, I live in a bus, and I was like, cool. He's like, you want to see it? I went to see the bus. I wanted to see how the bus looked like a house, and I was not murdered, and that is amazing. Yeah, but I think I'm a decent read of people because I do kind of assess like, okay, what's your creep factor?
What's your vibe?
Do you have upper body strength?
But isn't that the time though, like when you do realize like if someone isn't good at reading somebody's like energy, I've seen how easily they die. Yes. Because I've done the thing, but I've done it with a person whose energy I've correctly judged. But if if you're way off on that, or you've put yourself in some circumstance where you are some reason that you need something from this person, so you're ignoring the bad energy because you need something from them.
Yes.
You're like, oh, that's it. You're just gone.
Yeah.
You just
done. Well, it was also, that's why I say it's like I was 25 and it was this sense of like, it's an adventure, right? Like, because I've gone over here and I'm like, I've got to experience things.
Yes.
And it's just funny because that's so not my personality now. And like, I live in Los Angeles and trust no one. I believe danger lurks around every corner. I don't like to walk the dog after dark. Yes. And yet, when I was 25, up in here in Australia, I was running these streets.
Yeah. I think you were living a where are we going next lifestyle. Yeah. With anyone. Where are we going next?
Anyway, and it was just like, whatever. And then like, it was also just really weird too when you're in a place where, you know, you knew I wasn't from there. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Right? Mm-hmm. So like, because it's not just like I'm black, but also like I'm American. You wouldn't think I was Aboriginal. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of like, they're like, okay, who are you? So people immediately, and so when people automatically know you're not from here, and like the way they will strike up a conversation, where it was like, oh, I'm just like for the fucking picking. I'm here for the picking at the streets. Like they just know that it's like, look at that young foreign girl.
You know, like, I think the difference of doing like, you know, behaving like that at a younger age and now, I was just saying to someone yesterday, my friend Alex, or 2 days ago, I was saying, I was like, you know, when my dad used to referee high school basketball games, and I would get to go with him, and you know, he's working doing the game, and I'm like sometimes playing with other kids, but we are like in the locker rooms, we're in the offices, we're outside in the parking lot, and we're like young, and there wasn't a part of my dad going, you can't come to the game because I can't watch you and do it. And I was like, it's so crazy how at that time he wasn't like so worried about it. And Alex was like, well, yeah, because he wasn't inundated with constant news articles about everything awful in the world. So his awareness of and his fear of things wasn't necessarily as prevalent because he wasn't having to look at Instagram all the time and going, oh yeah, bad things happen every single second. Yeah. And I feel like at 25 and pre-iPhone days, pre-smartphone days, you were probably that same way where you're like, oh, I've heard stories that happen to people, but the world has billions of people on it. I'll be fine.
I think it was more like because though growing up in New York, there was a part of me that was like, oh, I can handle any situation.
Tough. Sure. There's a toughness
I just thought I was.
I
just thought I was like, I'll know. Like I keep my wits about me, and like again, in both situations were fine. It was just like looking back, I'm like, are you a dumb bitch? It's like, Naomi, what were you doing? What were you doing going off with 4 Australian men after having red wine from the winery? You fool. Yeah. You know, but I always felt like, okay, I'm kind of assessing what your vibe is, and that's what I thought would get me through. But
it did.
It did, but it's
It
also
did.
like, why even take these risks, Eddie? But it's so true.
Vibe reader.
I love this letter. Thank you, Chris, so much for sending it in. I can't wait to make you talk to us about it and tell us exactly what was going on that night and why you thought lake fire. I wouldn't even think you could. Last thing, I wouldn't even think you could swim in lake fire.
Absolutely.
How can you do that?
I think the gasoline.
If it gets on you, aren't you on fire?
I think the gasoline and the water don't mix, so it
Look
sits
at
on
you.
top.
Are you
This is my
terrible?
assumption. I don't know.
No, I'm saying that's the old saying. Like,
But you're
well,
saying
those
you're
two are like
saying
gasoline and
swim in
water.
it. Here's my fear: you swim in it, and then now you're covered in the gas, and so you're just on
Yes.
fire. And even when you go underwater, it's not necessarily a relief because the fire is somehow still.
Yes,
It's
like a grease fire.
I don't know.
Although it's not grease.
I do get it when you're extremely drunk. You think these things are fine.
They're
Just to
not.
note, this is how fires start that devastate acreage of many states. So no one try this. No one go, let's start a lake fire. Don't do that.
Don't.
Right.
Also,
He
like,
made it sound beautiful.
I'm not
he
saying you
wrote
have to
it
be
beautifully.
He did. I'm not saying you have to be as good as the people on Alone or
Yeah.
like Naked and Afraid, but you don't need. But you don't need gasoline for the fire either.
Yeah.
There's a middle ground there between like ingenuity and gas.
And one of his friends in that moment, he was at the end of that night, he was like, "Man, I can't believe we did that." And Chris just looked at him and he goes, "Yeah, but this is us." Shut up. No?
There he is.
He knew.
Yeah, he knew.
He knew. He knew back then.
He knew.
All right, we'll make him tell us about it at a future time. All right. Thanks so much for this letter, Chris. We've all done dumb stuff. I'm glad we're all still alive to talk about it. Be smart. Be kind. We wish you well. Sincerely, your pen pals, Daniel Van Kirk,
Rory Scovel, and
Naomi Ekperigin.